Hi, and welcome to How's a Gig, where Andy and I talk about the latest live music gig we went to. We are a couple of Gen Xers, front row kind of people, based in Melbourne, good old Nam. And who did we see this time, Andy?
Hoodoo Gurus, supported by the Hard-Ons, and the Hoodoo Gurus were doing their Stoneage Romeos 50th anniversary. Was it 50th?
You know, it could have been their 40th.
Oh, there you go. I was going to say, it came out in 80. Yeah, that's too much. The 40th, yeah.
Their 40th anniversary tour, Stoneage Romeos, was their debut album and it won them their ARIA Award, Australian Record Industry Award, or the equivalent at the time. Are you a fan of Hoodoo Gurus? Had you listened to much of them before?
Yeah, I love Hoodoo Gurus. And they were my first concert I ever saw. And I think I would have been 12 or 13, which sounds weird because this came out in 84. So when the album came out, they already had some traction going on. But you said they won the ARIA Awards, but I think a bigger award would have been the best debut album at the Countdown Awards.
It was the Countdown Awards at the time.
Okay.
The equivalent of the ARIA Awards was the Countdown Awards at the time. Remember Countdown? It was so good. We
It
need
was,
something like that these
yeah, it
days.
was huge. And I always feel that this is when bands made money. Back then, you had to buy their album. And now I don't think bands make money, to be honest. I don't know what
That's
they
why
do.
there's so much merch. Yeah.
Yeah,
You got to buy.
yeah.
We recommend buying the merch, buying the t-shirt, buying the hat, buying the vinyl now.
Absolutely. So, but I mean, like there are $40 t-shirts we had the other night, and there's $100 t-shirts like at Pearl Jam. So you don't really want to come on, man. I'm not going to pay $100.
Yeah, that may have been a long sleeve tee. Yeah, so I can't say I'm a huge fan of Hoodoo Gurus. I love them. They're an iconic Australian band. I know all their big hits. Not super familiar with Stoneage Romeos. I did listen to it, of course, before the show a number of times, and it's got the big hit "My Girl," and of course the big hit "I Want You Back," which was what I was most familiar with. It's got some unusual songs on it. You've got like "Dig It Up" is about necrophilia, and that's how they introduced it. But I mean, it could have been a metaphor. Some relationships are dead and buried, and people try and dig them up. That kind of thing. Death Ship, which is some kind of, it's got like a weird sea shanty rock chorus going on to it. So they've got some borderline novelty songs. Lalani is about the volcano sacrifice, and that's a lot of audience participation. Tojo, which is I actually really enjoyed Tojo on the night, which is a response to Cyclone Tracy, which happened in Australia up near Darwin. And Tojo was the name of the Japanese general who bombed Darwin in World War II. But anyway, did you have highlights from the show before I
Uh,
get into the
yeah.
actual concert?
I was surprised, you mentioned they won the best debut album, but it only peaked at 29 in Australian charts, which is I found really low, you know, as far as the best Australian album of 84 only peaked at number 29 in the charts. I'm just reading from
Oh,
Stoneage Romeo's wiki. But anyway,
the Hard-Ons were a bit of a highlight. It were very interesting.
so yeah, they're like old age rockers, really.
Yeah, Tim Rogers, the lead of the Hard-Ons, Australian punk rock band. Yeah, they started in the 80s. Tim Rogers wasn't always the lead singer. Tim Rogers has been around forever in Australia. He's probably one of the hardest working rock leads around. He just jumps from band to band. He's working on so many different projects. He's got a reality series coming up on ABC. So yeah, he's often on television panels and that sort of thing. So I finally see the Hard-Ons that I've heard so much about. They're very old school rock and roll. Good audience there for Tim Rogers and the Hard-Ons.
Yeah, so Tim Rogers, I love one of my favorite songs is Heavy Heart, which was You and I, which was
Oh,
Tim Rogers. He sang that. So
yes.
yeah, he is a rock legend. So that was Heavy Heart was number 9 Hottest 100. So yeah, he came across as a really nice guy actually, didn't he? He came across very happy to be there and to be supporting the Hoodoo Gurus.
And a lot of stage presence, a lot of, energy on the stage. I do like a front man who can walk up and down the stage and, move around and dance and get us moving as well. And I think at the start of the second song, that's when they took their shirts off. I guess maybe they're known. Maybe they're known for taking their shirts off. And the lady behind me, as they were taking their shirts off, she was like, "Oh no, oh no, oh no, don't, no."
They were unapologetic about it. These old bodies came out.
Yeah. Yeah. And then my friend afterwards was like, "What did you think of the Hard-Ons?" And I was like, "Man, they took their shirts off." And he was like, "Is that your only criticism?" I'm like, "Kind of, yeah." Was dancing around with some really low rider gold colored flares. It was quite a scene. And Tim Rogers has bouffant hair going on as well, which is great. Love the hair. Love the low riders, very 70s look, gold flares. And yeah, I struggle. I want to be all body positive. Like, it doesn't matter how old you are, you can still wear a bikini and take your top off. But I'm also like, oh, I didn't need to. I didn't need to see that.
I mean, it just had that vibe of like, hey, we're old. We don't care what you think, We're gonna take we're rock and roll, man.
Part of me admires that.
But when Tim turned around, he's got a little lump on his back.
It does.
And I'm like, oh, hey, does your doc know about that lump on your back there?
That was a bit awkward. Yeah. But there you go. And I'm sure if you're taking your top off in front of thousands of people, or if you have, I'm sure someone would have pointed it out. I don't think it's the audience's job to do that anyway.
Yeah, okay. So, yeah, it was a little bit distracting.
Distracting is the word. Yeah.
And I get, the Red Hot Chili Peppers do it all the time. That is stadium gigs too, yeah? So they're like, oh, I can just see them kind of half naked up on the stage, but when Forum's pretty close, yeah? You're pretty close to everyone.
You're pretty close to the front. And I don't think Chili Peppers are doing... Oh, no, Flea is probably doing it now. What am I talking about? Yeah.
Yeah, it could have been worse. But anyway, I like their presence. I thought he was a great, he just came across as a nice guy, even though he looked like a, heavy metal punk rocker was going to smash his guitar. He came across someone really cool and wanted to be there and was really happy to be supporting Hoodoo Gurus. So, yeah, that was the vibe I got from him.
Yeah, besides the one girl and myself going, oh no, put the shirts back on. But yeah, he seemed like a really nice guy, and I don't doubt it. We'll find out. He's going to be on that ABC reality TV show where they try to form bands that are made up of people with disabilities. And he's going to be one of the coaches, I suspect, who leads a band.
Okay.
So that'll be super exciting to see him in that.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, can't wait for that to start. It probably has started. I better get on to that. So, interesting thing to note, and one of the reasons why I went, not just because I had a bunch of friends who are major fans saying you got to go to this show. Their first show at the Forum sold out so fast. So none of my friends could get tickets. They have a massive following. But then a few of my friends were like, they got a second show on. Let's go. And I was like, wow, what's all the fuss about? Sold out really fast.
Well, my daughter was like, Dad, can we go to Hoodoo Gurus? And I was like, do you know who they are? Because I was really surprised. She's like, oh, yeah, I know them. So,
how old is she?
She's 15. So I guess they must have some TikToks out there. Someone's put TikToks together because that's how all this generation knows. My daughter's generation knows all this stuff. And I know she likes, yeah.
I wonder which song it is. Do you know which song?
It's probably What's My Scene.
Makes sense.
Probably gets around there a lot. And then she, gets served up other ones. So, yeah. And look, I did notice there was a couple of young kids. I say young, maybe 19, 20 in the front row in front of us.
Oh, they were.
And they were singing along to all the songs. So
they knew
I was like,
all the words.
Yeah. So they've got a whole new audience going on for them. Not that they need it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny because when I was in high school in the 90s, the retro bands we were listening to was Hendrix, The Doors, because that Doors movie came out, and
Led Zeppelin.
Led Zeppelin. Yeah, we were listening to that stuff if we wanted to be the cool retro kids. But
Yeah,
now I
yeah.
guess it's bands like, well, Nirvana and Chili Peppers seems to come up a lot. Bikini Kill's having a resurgence. And as you pointed out with your daughter, Hoodoo Gurus and probably some other Aussie bands. And didn't your daughter want a Pearl Jam t-shirt?
Yeah, yeah. She's got. You can buy these sets of stickers and chuck them on your bed, and they're every band that we knew from the 90s, basically. You know. And I was like, hey, do you know this person? But some of them, she likes them. You know, she knows the name, but has no idea. And I'll say, sing me 2 songs. Sing me the best 2 Rolling Stones songs that you know. And she'll be like, Dad, stop it. Because she doesn't know any of them. But it's, again, and she wears Pearl Jam t-shirt every day from that concert. But I've never heard her play a Pearl Jam song. She likes the mostly American later stuff, Tyler the Creator and SZA and all those kind of people. So, but you know, so she wanted to go, but the venue is over 18s, which sucks. There's so many concerts she can't go to. Because even Empire of the Sun, she couldn't go because that section is over 18 that we were standing in.
Man, I wonder if that's a Melbourne thing. That's annoying. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, I don't know why. Yeah, it sucked. Yeah.
So the crowd was, you know, probably, let's say 40 and 50.
Yeah.
Would you say generally around 40 or 50? A few younger people speckled in through the crowd. And as we've spoken before, there is something about that demographic that is which is our demographic, which is very particular about crowd etiquette.
Yeah, that's right. Which is because I always come back to, you know, A Mill and the Sniffers or the Bridge Hotel, where it just seems to be a shit show. But yeah, so we got there and I saw a spot because this guy left. So I went right up to the front and you followed me, and the lady behind you was really offended that you had moved in front of her.
Yeah, and look, I do feel bad walking through crowds to try and get a good spot. I try to be nice about it. I say, excuse me, sorry, thanks. I'm just going to stand over there where I see a spot. And yeah, I stood in front of someone. Of course, you're always standing in front of someone at a gig. And she was like, hey, that's not fair. Did she say someone? I think she said someone's coming back. She was like, hey, that's not fair.
I said to her, I'm just standing in this spot because that guy left. And she's like, oh, he's coming back. And I'm like, hey, you can't just go to the toilet and come back again. That's crazy. That's crazy talk. I mean, once you leave, especially right before.
Yeah. And I stood in front of him. She was like, hey, we've been waiting here for hours. So I guess they got there. We've been, and I was like, I'm sorry, there's no rules. I kind of said there's no, and she says, there are so rules. There are. And I'm like, are there? And I feel bad because I'm 5'10", which isn't super tall, but it's taller than a lot of people my age. And she said, well, I should be able to get in front of you anyway. And I went, oh, yeah, sure thing. You can stand in front of me. And I let her stand. I'm always offering shorter people to stand in front of me. And so she stood in front of me and stopped. But then I noticed that because I let her in front and I'd moved back slightly, I am now squished by 2 people who are doing what I always do when someone steps in. They are refusing to budge. Absolutely, positively refusing.
Yeah.
They're like, you made this decision. And I'm like, good on you guys. I would have done the same thing, but I was pretty uncomfortable for a little bit. I was that person that we talk about who squeezes their way in and everyone's like, what are you doing?
Look, it's cold chisel was an issue as well, not for us, but if someone came in, the whole crowd would be like, what's this guy doing? He wasn't here before, you know. And there was that guy who came through like halfway through the gig, and everyone was really offended, and they're like, oh, piss off, mate.
Just shamed him out of there.
Yeah, at the younger concerts, it didn't seem to be any issue at all. People didn't really care. I don't know. I mean, especially Amil and the Sniffers was just a shit show. People were like, Amil, sorry, yeah. I don't say Amil. Amil and the Sniffers, like people didn't care. People expected to just push straight in and do some moshing and then get moshed out again, get squeezed off. It was anarchy. It was anarchy, yeah. But
Crowd
yeah.
etiquette.
Anyway, well, that was fine. But I mean, regardless, I love the forum. I mean, we rocked up pretty late, and we got within 4 rows of the front straight away.
Yeah,
With
it's a
enough
great
room.
venue.
It is. It's my
the best
favourite.
venue Melbourne has.
Yeah.
You reckon?
Yeah. For A grade acts for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there are small venues and stuff, but yeah, for that kind of size venue, yeah, it's
Because
great.
the floor's tiered as well.
Yeah.
And it's not like Northcote Theatre. It's very flat. So if you're up the back, you still won't be able to see. I also kind of interested in how the exit goes. Like, I get a little bit nervous about a crowd of people trying to exit all at once and how long it can take. It freaks me out a bit. And I find the forum is okay. Northcote Theatre is very slow, very concerning, and I'm always a catastrophizer and thinking about if there's a fire right now, we're fucked.
Oh yeah. Inglourious Bastards final scene, yeah. When Hitler's stuck in the theater, yeah, and it's burning. I get it. So talking about Hoodoo Gurus, overall I found the vibe like it was him just, with his mates just doing the album. So he did the album in order. He spoke a little bit more towards the end. Towards the end was fantastic when he was just like, who's got a request? You know what I mean? It's okay, let's just throw a song up. We'll do it.
Once they got the album out of the way, they felt very much at home. We were here with our best buddies, and they were like a part of the furniture because they've been around for so long. And yeah, it felt really comfortable. It was a super long gig, right? Maybe over 2 hours. But because after that album, yeah, then they went into all the songs that I knew. To be honest, I really liked that second half because I knew the songs.
Yeah. They played all their big hits. They didn't disappoint anyone. But I mean, he even said, "Oh, this is halfway through the album now. It goes quickly, doesn't it?" I'm like, well, that is quick actually. And he spoke briefly about when they kind of hit big in the States in the college scene. He mentioned it, which I looked it up, and they were big in the college scene and the indie kind of albums.
Which Stoneage Romeos was big?
Yeah, and they hit the college circuit, it's a big deal in the States to hit the college circuit if you're a performer at all, because there's so many of them and they pay well, and you just keep traveling around doing this circuit.
I guess they must have really hit the vibe, but the themes are kind of unusual and quirky, and I feel like this is kind of a young person's album when you first get into it, and then it's got this surf rock thing going on as well. So
yeah, it does feel that way.
So maybe that's kind of the appeal of that.
Yeah,
Besides it just being a great album of the 80s. It's very rock and roll.
but yeah, he's obviously someone who really thinks about what he writes about, though. But then he talks about how some songs just happen so quickly. He wrote them like within 10 minutes or something.
Do you know which songs?
I can't remember. Remember he said it was just, oh no, it was a TV show that was on ABC when he spoke about it. He went through all the whole lot. But we're not here to talk about the whole doco. But he did speak about how it was very quick. This song was very quick. That song was this, and yeah.
I know the song Tojo was super exciting to watch live, and my friend jumped around to it so much, and she said that's one of her favorite songs. So I looked it up, and I had no idea the background of it, that this was a response to a charity song that came out when Cyclone Tracy, which was huge disaster that happened in Darwin on Christmas Day. And this song was a response to that. And Tojo was also the name of the Japanese general who bombed Darwin. And I thought, whoever wrote this is super smart.
Dave Faulkner.
Yeah. I'll read out some of the lyrics. Tracy was angry. A bad mood, a bad mood. I told her that it's an ill wind. Blows no good, blows no good. I said, Tracy, won't you listen? This is Christmas. Don't you go, don't you go. She said, David, believe me, I wouldn't miss this for the world. I've got to blow, I've got to blow. I don't know, there's something really haunting about giving the cyclone a voice, and how the cyclone was compelled to do what Mother Nature does and has always done. And then she said, Tojo never made it. Tojo never made it to Darwin. Which I think it's that even though the Japanese general bombed Darwin, which was devastating for Darwin, and it was our biggest attack in World War II, he never made it there. I don't know what that means.
I thought he didn't make it. I might be wrong. I thought they were off course.
Air attacks on Darwin and bases through the top end continue from February to November the following year.
Oh, okay.
They attacked the top end 64 times. I don't know what he means by Tojo never made it to Darwin.
As in landed there, I guess.
I guess so. Yeah, so a lot of crowd participation for Lelani, the song Lelani.
Oh, yeah, yep.
Let me see if I've got a little snippet of that.
I just say one thing and you reply. I go, Kachumba. You say, hey, you got something more than you and jump the gun. Kachumba. Hey! Kachumba. Hey! All right. Kachumba. Hey! Kachumba. Hey! Right, perfect. But then there's another one that might be harder for you. It's called Makumba. Oh. Makumba. Oh. Makumba. Oh. Makumba. Oh. Kachumba. Oh. Makumba. Oh. Kachumba. Makumba. Oh. Yes, we're ready. The tribe is ready. Let's do it, Brad. Again. Kachumba.
It was good crowd I'm always one for a bit of crowd participation. Yelling stuff back. Love it.
I was interested. He did a song early on about the bass player that they'd never had or something.
Arthur,
yeah. So because the band's pretty basic. What? They're like 3 guitars and drums, yeah? But they do have a bass player now. But back then it was just 2 guitars and drums. So considering like, you know, of course, we saw Playland Shelna and Cash Savage recently, who have a lot of depth to them. They've got keyboard, they've got brass, violin, harmonica. But these guys were just basically, when they started, guitars and drums. Yeah. Yeah, they get a lot from that. Get a lot of sounds from that.
Yeah, he kind of explained the story behind Arthur and how a lot of people thought it might be real, and maybe it was like people thought that's why they don't have a bass player. Maybe they wrote this song as a reason for not having one. But yeah, he explained that it was fictional, didn't he?
Yeah. Look, it was a good gig. I enjoyed it. I really liked the vibe of it. He just seemed to be so relaxed and with us, especially for the request time at the end of the gig.
And everyone knew all the words except maybe me. There was a lot of jumping around in the crowd, which was great. Friendly jumping around.
And he really looks amazing, doesn't he? He looks exactly the same as he does, just an older version. He's not overweight. He doesn't, seems to be like the same, and he's just still got everything.
Yeah.
You know, I'm amazed that these guys can just pick up a guitar and sing any song and remember all the words, all the chords. I'd be like, what's that one again? Yeah.
It is. I'm also surprised by that.
I just want to say one last thing. When we talked about the college tour, they were number 1 on the alternative college charts in America. It stated, I think the album was on the number 1 at the charts on there. So they were pretty big overseas.
They were huge.
Yeah.
There you go. And then what happened? So they sell the album on Amazon. I'm just checking. There's a review here from someone in the US that says they should have gotten bigger in the USA. The band is not to blame. I don't know who is to blame. Record label support. I never heard them on the radio in the 80s when MTV still played music. They rarely included the Hoodoo Gurus. Oh, good on you, George Johnson, who wrote that review. The review titled, "Is there a better band in the last 50 years than the Hoodoo Gurus?" Yeah. Wow, that's nice. I'm going to leave that as a rhetorical question. Are they? I wonder if
I
they
don't
tour
know.
the States now.
They would for sure. Yeah, people would know them.
All right,
Yeah, I think they're, you
let me
know.
check. Hoodoo Gurus tour. So you were right. They did tour the States. They played like 20 shows in September, like from Austin to Los Angeles, San Francisco, Salt Lake City, Nashville, you name it, New York.
Oh,
So there you
wow.
go. They toured this tour as well, Stoneage Romeos. So that's exciting. I always feel a little bit proud when that Aussie bands go international.
These dates are crazy. Like every day they're in a different city doing another show. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday, and then 2 days off. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. That's crazy.
It's a lot. I mean, I work 5 days a week every week.
Yeah. The next day they're in San Francisco. I mean,
That's a lot of traveling.
Yeah, it is. It is.
I mean, I travel 3 hours return. Cool. So what's next for us, Frankston? Yeah,
Yeah.
we're seeing Play Lunch in Frankston.
Frankston.
Awesome.
Next podcast.
All right. Thanks, everyone. We'll catch you
Okay.
then. See
Bye.
ya.